Okay, good evening. 6:30 and call to order meeting number 1863 of the East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission. We have a quorum. We have 4 regular members plus 1 alternate. So Frank, I'm going to ask you to sit in tonight on any voting that may take place. Yes, sir. Thank you. Do we have any added agenda items?
We do not.
Okay. Okay, legal notice, the legal notices were read into the record on our last meeting. So I will move on to our public participation portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak on a topic that's not on tonight's agenda? No, I'll move on. Approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. First one is our meeting number 1861 that was held on Tuesday, October 24th. Is there anyone that has any additions, corrections, comments, suggestions? Okay with this? Okay. Nobody has any further discussion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of regular meeting 1861 held on Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 as presented.
There is a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Need a second. We didn't get 3. Yeah, we do not have 3 people here.
Frank.
Oh, Frank, yep. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have a 3 vote majority. I abstain.
Yep.
I abstain.
And Stacey abstains also. Okay, so the minutes are approved. So the next set of minutes we have are from regular meeting 1862 that was held on Tuesday, November 14th. Does anybody have any additions, corrections, or comments on these minutes?
I was not present, so I'm going to abstain.
As am I. I was not present.
The 3 of us that are remaining were here, and I did not see any issues with the minutes. Okay. So then I will entertain the motion to approve these minutes.
One second. Motion.
No, I can't.
Oh, you can't.
Would
I thought you
you
made
present the motion,
Okay.
please? Thank you.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented for meeting call to order on November 14th, 2023. Our regular meeting number is 1862.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of meeting 1862. Do we have a second? Second. Frank. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Dave and okay. Receipt of applications. There was 1 application received. It was PZ 2023-31 for 257 South Water Street, a special use permit for a rear lot. The applicant is Pedro Vega. This application will be heard at a later meeting. Now, we have our continued public hearing. PZ 2023-25, 74 Newberry Road and 9 Craftsman Road is requesting a special use permit for the construction of a 32,212 square foot building and a 793 square foot building with new pavement, parking, loading areas, site lighting, concrete walkways, stormwater management system, associated utility landscaping on map 93, block 19, block 6, 9, 10 in the M1 zone. The applicant owner is Penske Truck Leasing LLC, Penske Truck Leasing Company, and LP Newberry Road Enterprises LLC. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Megan Hope. I'm an attorney with Alter and Pearson in Glastonbury. I'm here tonight representing Penske, together with my development team. So tonight you're going to be hearing from John Woldinger. He's the director of facilities for Penske. Also, Jack Alvarez. He's a senior regional facility manager. He's here as well. Should you guys have any operational questions. From BL Companies, we have Tim Poole, who's our professional engineer for the project, and also Mike Kirker, who's our PE, our traffic engineer. He's on the call virtually because there were some questions from the last meeting. This is a continued public hearing from your second meeting in October. And Mike, can you open up the PowerPoint, or I can have Tim come up and click through the slides, or sure, if you could go to the next slide, that'd be fine. So just to reorient everybody, the site is located between Newberry Road and Craftsman Road. So I've outlined the site in the solid red line. So that's sort of to the right side of the screen. This is a portion of the Dearborn property that is between Newberry Road, which is to the north of the screen, and Craftsman Road, which is to the south. So we're buying that easterly portion of the site. It's a little over 19 acres. So it will be 74 Newberry Road and 9 Craftsman Road. Mr. Dearborn will continue to own the remaining portion of 68 Newberry Road, where he has his current operation, and that will remain. That's about a little over 13 acres that will remain on the westerly side of the screen. Just an update from the last public hearing. We did provide staff with an extension letter regarding the close of the public hearing until this evening's meeting. There were some additional traffic questions that were asked at the last meeting. It took us some time to take the counts, get them approved by DOT, and update that report for you. So we did provide that extension letter. For the record, we did receive some additional comments from Ruth, and we did provide a response to comments letter dated November 17th. I believe that went out in your packets as well, together with that updated traffic report. We sent out the executive summary portion of that report. So that's all part of the record. Mike, if you could go to the next slide, please. Just to reiterate, we are proposing a state-of-the-art facility for Penske at this location. It consists of 2 buildings. The auto body repair building, which is located northern portion of the site, or the top of your screen. It's a little over 34,000 square feet. And that would be accessed through a driveway, 1 curb cut on Newberry Road. That's sort of in the top right corner of the screen. And then to the south side of the site, or the bottom of the screen, we have the service building. That's almost 17,000 square feet. There is an accessory fuel station located to the north side of that building. There are 2 curb cuts proposed from Craftsman Road. In total, we have the 3 curb cuts for the site. The uses that are proposed for both buildings are permitted in this zone after the issuance of a special permit with site plan. We do have some existing wetlands located on the easterly portion of the site, and also on the southwesterly portion of the site. We did go to the wetlands agency and get a permit from them at the beginning of September. So at the last meeting, we did have some questions about, I would just say, operational questions about Penske. There were questions about the size of trucks, how the buildings operate, how vehicles enter and leave the site. So I was going to have John come up and just touch on that briefly, sort of button up all those questions. And then we were going to have Mike Kirker, our traffic engineer, go through the updates he made to the traffic report. I'll then pass it over to Tim, our professional engineer, to just go through basically any of the response to comments that we didn't cover in the other speakers, and then I'll just make some final remarks or answer any questions, obviously, from the commission. So I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to John.
So just to touch base on, I know there's some,
Just to say your name for the record.
John Wiltenner, Penske Truck Leasing Director of Facilities for the Northeast region. I just want to touch on some of our operational, which I felt like there was some confusion in the last meeting. Our business is, there's four parts to our business. Everybody knows the yellow trucks that you see. And now we've talked about the trucks you don't see that are labeled either Coca-Cola or our customers. We have them labeled that way. So we have full service lease, contract maintenance, commercial, and consumer rental. So first service lease is that's our big one. That's the one we do the most of. That's where you lease the tractor from us. We maintain it, we decal, we take care of it, we take everything for you, whatever you need to do. Contract maintenance, you own the truck, you contract with us, we'll repair it. The only way you can ever come on our yard to have any type of repair done, you have to be contracted with us. So an average truck just can't drive off the road and say, hey, can you quickly repair this and that? We don't do that. We don't provide that service. The other two are commercial rental. So commercial rental would be UPS, FedEx, anybody who needs a truck commercially would come to us. Our biggest time of the year is actually right now from Thanksgiving to January 1st is our biggest commercial rental. So when you see UPS show up, you're dropping off your UPS package in a Penske truck, and then that's what's going on is the commercial. And then the consumer rentals, obviously, you and I, we want to move our child to college or just move the house. That's the consumer. So with that said, we're not a truck terminal. We're a maintenance facility maintaining the trucks that we own or the customer owns that are contracted work with us. So when we talk about traffic and coming in and out, we're not cycling tractor trailers constantly. It's more box truck and tractor. We do have trailers come in. We have over 400,000 units in our fleet. I would say 90% of that is truck, box truck and tractor. So trailers are very low maintenance part of it. So what you'll see is, I might just walk up here. Bear with me, I have a little bit of photos up. So I'll focus on the service shop first. When we come in, we have customers that'll come off the road. So they will come off the road if they need a light bulb wherever. So we have 800 facilities across the country. If you're contract with us and you're from Phoenix, Arizona, and you're driving to Boston, and you're cutting through Hartford, you can stop in and get any type of repair done. You just call, you can stop in or you can call ahead. And what we do is with our new buildings, we build on each side of the bay. So our bays are along the side. We actually put canopies out. So if a customer comes up and needs a quick fix, we can drive them underneath the canopy. Our tech can go outside, change the light bulb, change the tire, do whatever you do quickly and under protection of rains, the snow, sun. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do is maintain the building, bring customers in and out as quickly as they can, because we always say a sitting truck's not making money. So we don't want our trucks sitting, we don't want our customers' trucks sitting here long. They do because it might be a bigger repair than normal. We can't find the part. Just different reasons why. So that's why, we have this big area, the ancillary part of our business is parking the truck there, but we don't want the truck sitting. We want them constantly moving. Flow of traffic, we do have a fuel island, and customers only. No, not all trucks come here, so you have to be contracted to go. Our typical highest fuel times are first thing in the morning. So our local customers they'll be filling up, they'll stop in and fill up. End of the day, they'll come back between that 3 and 5, fill back up. It's a high volume island. This is typically our shop, which is one exit down north. It's not a high volume, so it's not going to be a real high volume. So we're not going to have as much traffic with that, with the fueling, but we do provide that as a part of our business. But talk about the flow, the other part of the business, so commercial rental. On the front, you can't see it. We have the truck parking up front. We call that a rental ready line. So if a customer comes in to rent a truck, they'll just pull up, park out front. Most of the times, I would say it's probably depending on the place. If it's Long Island, New York, they get dropped off and they'll take the truck. if we have parking available, they'll park out front, leave their car, take the truck and bring it back. And grab the car, but if they do leave their car or they drop off and they come back after hours and the gate shut, we do leave an area right here with, we call rental return. So after hours, we give them a place to park, so trucks don't end up back on the road. So we are thoughtful on that. We've learned that through time that we do need some type of bullpen area for trucks. Operational hours, gates are always open. We do have flow through going through the yard. We flow counterclockwise because of trucks. That's kind of the gist of the service. Anybody have questions on the service and how it works? One question that came up was, are the doors open? Summertime, doors are open. We provide heat, but we don't have air conditioning in the shop. We will have the big fans. Some people know it's a big ass fan. We do provide those, so it gives it the airflow, but a lot of times the shops are open. At night, doors are typically closed for security purposes for, depending on locations. I can tell you stories. Jack's with me here. I've told him many stories on security issues that have popped up, but that's kind of the flow of the service. The body shop's a little bit different. Body shop, with the service shop, if your truck's here, we don't want there more than a day, 2 days tops. We want to turn it as quickly as can. Body shop's different, right? Those trucks can be there 3 to 5 days, depending on the severity of the accident. So the amount of trucks that turn through there, trucks will come in, they'll get typically either hauled in or dropped off. We don't really have customer interaction coming in other than the pickup. So those trucks will sit, and a lot of times they sit because timing wise, right? The insurance company has to come look at the truck. It might take a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, who knows? That's why we provide a little more parking for the body shop, just because of timing when it comes to insurance volumes. But once that truck gets in the shop, it's a 3 to 5 day process. It could be a week depending on how much work is done. So the building is built so there's three trucks can park straight through the building this way. Where our service shop, we have 2, like one in and one out, so you drive in and back out, or you can drive completely through. So just kind of the flow of this building, the amount of trucks that will come in just for this building is limited compared to that. So the flow will be higher on this side. I think Mike has touched on it in his traffic report that it'll come more out of that side of the building, of the property. But the other thing is just, there was a comment on trees in the yard. And so I know beginning of the project, we asked not to do trees. Trucks and trees don't get along. So I would ask to reconsider us putting the trees in. I'll put trees all along the property line, but I prefer to get them out of the islands and outside the fence line. Just because, so if you think about it, I'm gonna take a truck, think of a 30-foot box truck, it overhangs 10 feet. So we back them in, they back up and they overhang that curb line. So now we hit the tree. So when we said, okay, we're gonna have to put in trees, I said, we'll plant them on the parking line. We'll avoid them as best we can, but the trees grow, and over time, we're just gonna continue to hit them. If we got that discussion on, can we limit the amount of trees or remove the trees on the outside and get them outside the fence line, I'd be more than happy to do that. So that's kind of the flow and how our yards work. Hopefully that clarifies any questions, concerns.
You want to take questions as you go, or do you wait?
I'll take questions as we go.
And do you have anything you'd like to ask?
No, I thought it was a good explanation of how the trucks work on the property.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I am a proponent of moving the trees out of the area.
It was your comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I deal with trucks and I know that the overhang is gonna take those things out.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll look pretty the day you put them in. That's
Right,
the
yeah.
end of it.
And we've learned over time and time, like if you look at our pole lights in our yard, we set them almost, our fence is 12 feet off. Our light's 10 feet because we're trying to avoid hitting it. over time, in the winter time, you get a little snow ramped up, you don't feel the curb, you back up and hit it. So that's kind of why how we set everything.
So you're saying you'd want to put them outside the fence line. Where is the fence line in proportion to the property line?
Fence line is currently there, so I let Tim talk more on how we could replant the landscape, so we can present it prior, we can plan for that. Yeah, sure.
Typical, professional engineer from field companies. So specifically to this plan, what we have kind of colored in is essentially our limit of work. The orange line around the perimeter is the property line. So if you can kind of see, the trees right now are located inside this brown area along the perimeter, for the most part. And the fence line it's hard to see, but there's kind of a light line at the back of the brown, along either side. That's where, the fence falls. Like John mentioned, it's 12 feet back from the curb. Pretty much everywhere, we have at least another 12 feet from the fence line to the property line. The only areas that get a little tight would be down in this, southwestern side. We have plenty of room to the property line. We don't have a ton of room between the fence line and the wetland line. And then we would have a couple locations up in the northeast corner where there's the existing wetlands. We're not gonna put the trees down into the wetlands. But for the most part, the rest of the site has ample room to shift the trees just outside the fence line and keep it clear of the trucks, but also clear of the fence as well. So as the trees grow into, a mature size, they're not gonna impact the fence, the trucks, anything like that.
Anything else? Make this.
All right, Mike, you're up.
Yes.
Hi, this is Mike Kirker. Can you hear me?
If we can.
Perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I just have a quick rundown of the traffic impact study process. It says I'm disabled actually from sharing my screen. Am I able to get that enabled?
You should be now that you're a co-host.
Perfect. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay. So I just wanted to go through the process of the traffic impact study process that we completed for this site in East Windsor. And then I can kind of go through some of the summary revisions that we made from the last submittal. So the traffic impact study, the purpose was to determine the impact, if any, on the land development on the adjacent roadway network and recommend mitigation if needed. So we look at, analyze, and compare the traffic scenarios for three different conditions: the existing condition, the no build, and then the build. And we looked at the AM commuter peak period and PM commuter peak period. So if you could see my cursor, we looked at these 7 stop controlled intersections, as well as a signalized intersection at Newberry and US Route 5. And then one of the revisions from the last meeting was the addition of the Thompson Road signalized intersection at US Route 5. So in terms of data collection, we collected counts at those 7 stop controlled intersections, as well as at one signal at the I-91 ramps in February of 2022, and counted that additional intersection last month in October. So again, we counted these volumes in both AM and PM weekday, and they were verified by Connecticut DOT Policy and Planning Group. There was also the site visit component, which included photographic inventory as well as a verification of roadway geometry and lane arrangements. So that helped build the existing condition, and then we took a look at the no build condition. And this no build condition represents the conditions without the project projected out to the year to when the construction would be completed, which would be 2025. So this no build condition also includes traffic from other developments, which was discussed with the town and with OSTA at DOT. And there were no other planned projects that needed to be included in our background volumes. In terms of the build condition, that's where we're adding these 3 site access points, 1 on Newberry Road and 2 on Craftsman Road. And again, these were projected out to 2025 using those 2022/2023 volumes. And those generated trips were distributed to the roadway network to help produce that build analysis. In terms of trip generation itself, this is taken from the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, which is in the 11th edition. So we use this as a guide, and these trip distribution pattern, pretty much we're looking at trip distribution patterns along the roadway network so that we can build, so we could get to the build model, which is the sum of the no build plus the new site traffic. And so the trips that were generated during the AM peak hour was 62 trips, with 30 trips coming in and 30 trips leaving the site. And then during the evening peak hour, 65 total trips, with 32 coming in and 33 leaving. In terms of how to actually analyze once we have all these volumes, we're able to properly analyze the roadway adequacy and have a better understanding of level of service. And that level of service is determined using delay, and it assigns a letter grade A to F, F being the worst, A being the best. And you could see that for the different signalized and unsignalized intersections, there's different ranges for the amount of seconds per vehicle of delay that make up each of those ranges of level of service. And so, this is all using that Synchro 11 software. And from that Synchro 11 software outputs, we were able to briefly summarize here the difference in the intersection level of service between existing, so the 2022 existing and the 2025 build. Obviously, the difference here being the site access driveways, there is no existing driveway at site access driveway 1 on Newberry Road, as well as the 2 on Craftsman Road. And all of these intersections are showing no change in level of service from the existing conditions to the build condition for AM or PM peak hour. So our conclusions and recommendations from the study was to make sure that at those 3 access points that the stop bars included, lane arrangement signs and or pavement markings are provided per the contract plans. And there's typically a caveat if the square footage is over 100,000 square feet at the site, which this is not the case, or if there's over 200 parking spaces, that would require an administrative decision, which is further involvement from the Office of State Traffic Administration. But after speaking with OSTA, they had said that these inventory parking spaces would not count towards that threshold, so there would be no further action from them at this time. So that's just, I guess, a brief summary of the traffic impact study process that we had completed. I guess if I stop sharing my screen. So I guess just in summary, the changes that we made at this between the last submittal to this submittal was the addition of that intersection of Thompson Road at US Route 5. That was included in our study, which was previously not included, as well as changing the split from 50-50 split coming from Craftsman Road and Thompson Road to have a 60-40 split, with 60% coming from Craftsman Road, which is the service building, and then the 40% coming from the north, which is the auto body repair. So we made those 2 changes and adjusted the outputs accordingly. Yes, sir. Is there any questions based on what I presented or on the changes that were made?
Anybody have any traffic questions?
Good explanation.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So again, Tim Poole, the professional engineer from BL Companies, and I'd just like to quickly go over a few of the comments since the last meeting that have not been discussed so far. I believe we only received a handful of comments from the last meeting, so I'll quickly dive right in. Mike, if you could bring up the PDF of the site plans and then go down, I think it's probably gonna be like 15 sheets in down to the drainage sheets. Let's do the overall, if you don't mind. Thank you. And so the first question was in regards to, stormwater treatment, but specifically in the area surrounding the fuel station. And I'm actually gonna, it's okay, I'm gonna walk up to the screen so I can help talk through this one. So the fuel station is this area immediately behind the service building. As designed, the area completely around these three sides of the service building is on a concrete apron, but directly under the fuel station is a designed spill containment pad that you would see typical of any fuel station. So the big concern that we had, or the question, was in regards to stormwater treatment or management in the event of a spill. This fuel station, like many others, has a wide range of safety features built in. The first being that spill containment pad. In the event of a spill, those pads are sized to contain a certain volume of fuel. The pumps themselves also have a number of safety features built in, emergency shutoffs. There's usually valving built in, so if somebody hits the actual pump itself, it doesn't just start spewing fuel. There's a shutoff right at that interface between the fuel station and the island. There's a handful of other safety features as well, but those are the two big ones. In the event of a large spill for some reason, this does all discharge into the stormwater management system, which does have several different treatment systems built in. First and foremost, in the collection measures themselves, which from the fuel island, stormwater would run off either to the west and down into the catch basin located here, or to the east, located it could go into either one, either a catch basin over here directly east of the service building, or there's a chance it could kind of wrap the corner, but most likely it would end up either the double catch basin east or west of the service building. Those catch basins have deep sumps and hoods in them, so initial treatment will happen there with those hoods. The any fuels will, with the separation of water and gas or oil, all those petroleum products will float on the top. The water stays underneath, and the water will get separated out and go through the drain pipe. The hydrocarbons will stay floating on the top. So you have an initial treatment there. Once it discharges out the catch basin, it flows into the rest of our storm management system, which has hydrodynamic separators on them prior to any discharge or infiltration. The units selected also do treat for hydrocarbons. They have a similar setup where water comes in, they get forced down into the bowels of the structure, where it works with the natural separation of oil and water to keep them out, and the water flows through and the hydrocarbons stay in. And then finally, these two catch basins that we're talking about here, if oil somehow bypass that, it would then end up in the underground stormwater system, where some of the hydrocarbons are going to enter the tank system, which has stone and fabric underneath it. So there's another layer to kind of help capture a little bit of those hydrocarbons prior to any sort of contamination event. But so there is quite a bit of safety measures built in for the stormwater system in the event of a spill. And I should also say Penske does have a pretty thorough operation and maintenance plan for their fuel station, spill containment. There's always spill kits at the fuel islands, so it's something that they take very seriously, and certainly go the extra mile to prevent any kind of spill. One of the other comments was about the trees. I think we discussed that. That's something, we definitely would like to consider relocating the trees outside that fence line. And if you want more information, we can go to the landscaping plans and kind of dive into the details on that, but I think we might have covered that one. There was another question about the gates on site. We do have gates at the primary access points into each building. Mike, would you be able to zoom out a little bit, see the whole site? So, right now, we have gates located at the 3 driveway points. So starting up at the north, when coming in from the main driveway, this parking area out front is intended for employees and customers. That area is open to the public 24/7. The gate is located just inside that area as you head into the site. Coming down to the south, coming in from the 2 driveways, the immediate parking area out front is open to the public with a mix of customer parking immediately adjacent to the building. And then truck parking. There's 4 spaces on the right that are rental return. There's the rental ready immediately out front. And then there's a few, it's 4 or 5 truck spaces out on the left. As well for a little bit of overflow from either the rental return or the rental ready. Just inside that, just behind the front wall of the building, we have gates on either side. All 3 of those gates, as John mentioned, will stay open during operational hours. When they close, weekend hours, they will remain closed. The gates are manual, but we are, as part of the project, we're putting in conduit now. So if they do decide to add, electronic gate openers or anything like that, the infrastructure is there. There's no impact to the site. They don't have to come back and dig anything up to provide that extra feature.
Okay, so my understanding then now is that the gates are more for site security rather than traffic control.
Correct, yes.
I think that's where the misunderstanding was, that they were going to use traffic control and prevent people from driving.
Okay, yes, it is more for site security. We do at those gate locations, we are proposing speed bumps at like right under the gate. The gates are set up 4 to 6 inches off the traditional paving height. We're putting in the speed humps to kind of primarily to slow down any traffic coming in. When the gates are open, there's in theory nothing stopping trucks or cars from flying in there. We want to have it secure and controlled, especially with the overhead doors on those, right after those gates, you're going to the main circulation area in and out of the building. So we add those speed bumps to slow down the traffic. But then an added benefit is it helps close that gap between the bottom of the fence and the paving. So it's just a little extra security.
When will the operation not be in operation? When will the facility not be in operation?
John?
This facility will be 24/7 during the week. The gates will most likely close probably after second shifts, as our second shift ends typically around 11. And just for security purposes, they'll close that because our fuel islands it depends on when they operate the island. It's typically not open at night because we don't have a third shift for the island. So when that island shuts is basically when they'll shut the gate just for security purposes, because the flow of traffic pretty much dies down to nothing at that point.
And then the last question that we had was in regards to the stormwater management system, specifically in large storm events. There is a little bit of water leaving the system. Is that overflow or that discharge treated? So I'll take a quick step back on that for the stormwater system as a whole. There's really, I'll summarize in 3 different ways. The vast majority of the paved areas are all collected in deep sump hooded catch basins, piped through hydrodynamic separators and into the underground stormwater infiltration systems, which are these two large kind of grayish rectangles here. The roof water is collected through downspouts, piped underground, and sent directly into the underground systems. 'Cause it's all clean water, so it doesn't need to go through the hydrant separators. And then the third, we have one catch basin down in the southeastern driveway that is, it's collected, treated in a hydrodynamic separator, and then direct discharge to the southern wetland. And we did so in an effort to try to balance the flow rate into that wetland, to really maintain the water flow into it, to maintain the wetland viability. And also kind of spread out the stormwater flow, so we're not having one large peak and then everything dissipates from there. So going back to the infiltration systems, once the water reaches those, they both have a manhole immediately downstream of them that is an outlet control structure. Its sole purpose is to try to hold as much water into those systems as possible to force the water to infiltrate. In large storm events, like greater than a 25-year storm, something, on average, you might see once every 25 years. Some water does leave that system. It will flow through that outlet control structure and out. However, at that point, all the stormwater has been treated. We have the calculations in the stormwater report, but in essence, it's greater than 90% of any suspended solids have been removed. I believe it's upwards somewhere in the like 96-97%. And really that's obtained through primary treatment in the deep sump hooded catch basins. The majority of the treatment is then achieved in the hydrodynamic separators, which achieve over 80% on their own. And then the underground infiltration system also provides a high level of treatment. So when you add all that up, the treatment level is in excess of 90%. So any water that does discharge from those systems, it all goes to the east towards Namrud Brook. That water it's actually going to be cleaner than the site today, because with agricultural use, there are times where the soil may be exposed or tilled, and that may have some sediment washout. You're really not going to see any of that from this development with the thorough treatment that the stormwater receives. I believe that was all I had in my notes for any comments. So I guess if there's any questions on those comments or site items. Glad to answer them. If you're not, just pass them back for the summary.
Dave?
So I obviously wasn't here at the last meeting, so I might have missed something, but what did we determine about the snow being removed from the top of trucks? We've mentioned that a couple meetings ago. Was there a snow rake that was going to be installed for the tractor trailers leaving? I don't see any mention of it.
We don't have snow rakes. We typically just hand sweep them off. So we have ladders, like the step ladders. I'm not sure if you've seen them, but like the step ladder, they can go sweep them off. All customers are required to sweep their own trucks before they leave the property. We could also, in the wash bay, we will wash them off and clean them that way. So those are the three ways to do it.
Thought that was a lot.
Well, it's a DOT thing, so it's kind of, it's their issue to have with the DOT.
So we can't control, we have no.
Just we brought it to their attention that it's a DOT requirement.
Okay.
How they satisfy the DOT is.
However they do it. Okay, just wanted to make sure we were clean.
Yeah.
So that was all I had.
I'm also.
Satisfied.
I had one question. The fuel island, self-fueled or you have designated fuelers?
We have designated fuelers. We pump the gas for them.
Diesel islands tend to be messy.
Yeah. Then they're all trained on the safety, they're trained on the spill kits.
Definitely better.
We can provide, we have a brief document that we can provide that explains, we go above and beyond the requirements. So we can provide that, so you piece the town.
Staff have any other questions?
I think there was an issue with regard to noise that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so, one of the things I wanted to touch on, there is a draft, condition of approval. It's the last one, I believe, number 21, that was drafted. It says all overhead service doors on the east side of the proposed auto body repair building shall remain closed unless vehicles are being moved into or out of the service bay. When John was, testifying previously, he indicated that they do need those open, especially in the summer, because they are air conditioned buildings. So we were suggesting perhaps adding something to the end of that says those doors would be closed between the hours of 10 PM and 6 AM to close them during the night times when we feel like any potential noise could impact the neighbors. Obviously, during the winter and things like that, the doors are gonna be closed for weather anyway. So I think when those doors would really be open, it would probably be in the warmer months when we're trying to get some airflow in there for the employees.
I think that's reasonable. That's what we're trying to prevent is the noise in the evenings.
Right.
So
Yep.
we can add to condition 21 between the hours of 10 PM and 6 AM.
And then if there is a decision on the relocating those trees from the islands, I think we could put something in here to say that would be reflected on the final plans. That's something that the commission is okay with that modification.
Where we
We're in 4.
Yeah, I may have covered it with the way I wrote F.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, all my.
Yeah, I agree, that's covered.
Yeah, so that way,
Perfect.
what we discussed this evening, you can make the modifications in the final.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
No.
All right, so this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, sir.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. It's, I'm totally in favor of this operation, just for what that's worth, but I'd much rather see this than corn. But food for thought in general. One of the items that's been targeted on global warming is parking areas. They absorb heat all day and distribute it all night. And it's becoming quite significant. This is a worldwide problem. Not for this application specifically, but in general, we're gonna have to start thinking about that. White parking lot, something, blah, 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 because these problems aren't going away. I don't care how many electric cars you got, parking lot's a parking lot, and it sucks up heat and distributes it all night long. And that is a problem that we tend to build a lot. We love asphalt. So that's a future thing to think about, because I think it's gonna become a bigger problem. Otherwise, I have no problem with this particular application. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this application? Is there anyone online that'd like to speak on this application? Okay. Anybody, last chance, anybody else on the board have any, you're good?
No, I'm good. Yep, satisfied.
They did a good job.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on application PZ 2023-25 for 74 Newberry Road and 9 Craftsman Road.
There is a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Public hearing is closed. I think I have all the information that I've been looking for. We've had our questions addressed. We're ready to make a vote on this.
Yes.
I'm ready, motion to approve.
Hold on a second, Frank, Ian has one thing.
I guess in the memo for a motion to approve. Have we concluded that 4F gives them the flexibility to move the trees? And do we need an edit to number 21 for the hours at which the doors shall remain closed?
Yes, for item 21, we're gonna add the verbiage of between the hours of 10 PM and 6 AM. F does allow them the flexibility to modify the drawings. To relocate the trees.
Okay,
The one other topic that we discussed in the previous meeting, but Dave, for your benefit, they are requesting a change in the setback requirements from the 100 feet to the 50 foot, which is addressed in finding number 1.
Yep.
So that's included in this motion. They did address it by adding additional screening, burn vegetation to try to mitigate,
Reduce,
yeah,
mitigate the
any
noise.
issue from it. And that's also why we kind of discussed about these doors being closed in the evening because of the proximity to the next neighborhood.
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they need clarified? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion to approve PZ 2023-25 for 75 Newberry Road and 9 Craftsman Road for a special use permit with site plan for truck leasing, automotive, and auto body repair. It'd be for map 93, block 19, lots 6, 9, and 10. The applicant is Penske Truck Leasing Company. And the owner is Newberry Road Enterprises LLC. The approval is granted subject to the conformance with reference plans as may be modified by the commission and this approval. And the conditions and modifications are listed in a memo that we received with our packet. We're including a finding that the commission finds the issuance of a waiver reducing the required landscape buffer from 100 feet to 50 feet in accordance with section 600.2 appropriate given the non-conforming nature of the use on the adjacent parcel and to further preserve existing and established vegetation. Up for the 21 conditions, we would be modifying number 21 to read all overhead doors on the east side of the proposed auto body repair building shall remain closed from 10 PM to 6 AM unless vehicles are being moved into or out of the service bay.
I'll amend that motion to one item that the memo was typoed at 75 at 74. So that is 74 in the very road. Okay, so there is a motion to approve the application. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Nice.
Good job.
I think there are 2.
Now move on to our new public hearings. First one we have is BZ 2023-28 for 122 Prospect Hill Road, a special use permit, requesting a special use permit for a commercial multi-purpose assembly space that would provide a venue for corporate and private events with serving of alcohol. It's on map 12, block 17, lot 001-001 in the B2 zone. The applicant owner is CAD Luxury Event Venue LLC and Sophia's Plaza LLC. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application? Okay,
I am here on Zoom.
Dave.
Hello, everyone. My name is April Williams. I'm the owner of this event venue, and we are requesting a special use permit. Just want to give you a little bit about what we're trying to do here. Is provide a multi assembly space for people to come in and have private events via corporate or private individuals. And these events can range anywhere from small weddings to baby showers, fundraisers, networking events, et cetera, et cetera. What we are requesting is that some of these events will most likely have alcohol there. They will not be selling alcohol, but they will probably be able to, they will provide it. And this alcohol will be provided by a licensed and insured bartender. That's pretty much an overview of what we're trying to do here at in Sophia's Plaza. So I'm not even sure if anyone has any questions or need any more clarification.
Anybody on the commission have any questions?
I note on the November 16th memo we received that
Yes.
we have not heard from North Central Health District, the fire marshal, or the building official. Is that correct?
So I met with the fire marshal Friday, and he gave his approval. I'm not sure if you guys received that or not.
We've asked for his confirmation of that, because the maximum capacity is of 130. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, and
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
the fire marshal did tell me he was gonna meet with you, and then I, through Katrina, heard, you landed on 130 maximum capacity, and I just want to check.
Yes, we did.
I was out of the office today, but I did receive an email. I know the building official. There's a change of occupancy permit that the applicant will need to get from the building official. He's gonna be looking for layout of, how the interior is gonna be set up. And the fire marshal also reviewed that at the same time. The change of occupancy. I know that I got.
That is separate from our
It's
action.
separate.
We're just
Okay.
approving the use. And then they'll have to work out the details with the building official and the fire marshal.
And is the North Central Health Department issue would be the food service, and that again would be between the applicant and the health district.
And then you get put on the reviewers for the change of occupancy. They need to sign off before can with issue.
Okay.
We're just approving the idea and the use in that particular space.
And if there were to be amplified music inside the space, are there abutters that would be impacted? I don't know what parts of the plaza this is and.
Is there a layout available which space?
Units 10 and 11.
It's units 11 and 10 and 11, the old ice import. So next to the travel agency. And I'm trying to remember what's on the other side of the travel agency, but most of these events will take place almost after hours. And also we are planning to do some soundproofing within the space too, to prevent any noise issues. So we're gonna cover both bases that way. But like I said, most of the events will be held after hours.
So you're a
and on
butter,
the weekend.
one side is the travel agency, you're a butter on the other side is
I think it's the laundromat.
it the laundromat?
Trying to see.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
the laundromat is further down. Hold on, I just need to find out. I wanted to say, is it H&R Block?
Edward Jones.
I'm not, yeah.
Okay.
Edward Jones, that is correct. Edward Jones, that is correct. Yes. No. Am I still in Zoom? Hello?
Well, I'd be happy to see the plaza, utilized, so that's a plus.
Yes.
As the building inspector, official, seeing this noise buffeting buffer you're gonna put in approval of it?
No, not at this moment, because I'm waiting to go through this process. But that's definitely a conversation that I'm willing to have with them and to move forward and, work with them to put in place what is necessary for that to be successful.
Does he know, or do we know what you're gonna use?
Not at this moment. We're looking at soundproofing for the walls and for just for the side walls on each side, like soundboards, the foam soundboards. And that will probably warrant more conversation as far as like, the thickness of those boards from the building department.
So the email that came in today from the building official says the building department will require a detailed building plan of the space. Please include all dimensions of every room and the overall space. Architect must include the occupant load on the plan.
But no indication that he's concerned about noise, the abutters.
I don't think that there's anything that the building.
Does the space currently have restroom facilities?
Yes, it does. It does have restroom facilities. I know based on ADA, the door needs to be 36 inches. And so we need to adjust that because right now it's actually 28 inches.
I'm just thinking if we're talking, what was it, 130? Yeah, how many, fixtures we're gonna require? That's gonna be North Central. That's gonna have to deal with that.
I think that's all building code.
Yeah,
based
okay.
on-
All right.
Yeah, all of that is building. The fire marshal and I had that discussion also. Yes.
That's not enough that it's gonna trigger anything from the water company or the sewer company that they're handling each.
Right, the plaza's already.
It's already covered under that. Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, so this is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak on this application? Is there anyone online that would like to speak about this application? Okay. A little straightforward to me. Most of the issues are gonna be with, building department and
Yep.
North Central.
Yeah.
We're just kind of
Allowing
allowing the use, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if nobody has anything else, so entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on application PZ 2023-28 for a special use permit at 122 Prospect Hill Road.
There is a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Public hearing is closed. Anybody have any other items that need to discuss? Not, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion to approve application PZ 2023-28 for a special use permit at 122 Prospect Hill Road for a private event venue with alcohol service. It's a zone B2. The approval is granted subject to and conformance with the application materials as may be modified by the commission in this approval and the following conditions and / modifications. The conditions are: 1, prior to issuance of any permits, the owner / applicant shall file a copy of the certificate of approval on the land records. Number 2, signage shall require a separate permit. And number 3, live entertainment or amplified music shall be controlled to ensure it does not emanate from the building.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Unanimous. Your application is approved.
Thank you so much.
Good
And
luck.
Ruth Ann, I'll be in touch with you too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next public hearing is PZ 2023-29, 105 South Main Street. Site plan review, request for change of use to retail sales of firearms and ammunition. It's located on map 52, block 20, lot 62. Zone is a TZ5. The applicant owner is Edward Markowski Jr. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application?
So hi, my name is Eric Peterson. I'm a professional engineer with Gardner and Peterson Associates from Tolland. And also with me tonight is the owner and applicant, Ed Markowski Jr. Before I get started, I just wanted to hand to you the sign posting affidavit for the signs on the property. And I don't know if you need the notices. I can probably email this to you already.
You don't already have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. First of all, I have to have one question before I get started. Can we put our plans up on the screen or?
Sure.
Oh, Mike, I didn't recognize you there. How you doing?
Hiding in plain sight.
You have a flash drive? Or do you want to?
I do not know. I was sure if we,
I can try to, if you want to get started, I'll try to pull up the packet.
okay, that'd be great.
You can walk me through it.
Okay, so 105 South Main Street is a 3-acre parcel. As you mentioned in the, as mentioned, it's located in the TZ5 transition zone on the east side of Route 5. The parcels to the north and to the south are also in the TZ5 zone along Route 5. And the parcel behind us to the east are in the residential R3 zone. Currently, there's a 8,000 square foot commercial building on the property, which was formerly the United Ag and Turf building. I believe they moved next door. That's right. And there's 2 site drives that access this site. Both of them are, in and out drives. And the southerly drive is actually a shared drive to the residents to our east behind us. Yes. So it's interesting having a previously developed property. A lot of the infrastructure, most of the infrastructure is already there. Besides the building, there's parking in the front, there's parking in the sides, there's concrete pads in the back. There's gravel, probably formerly parking areas in the back as well. There's stockade fencing along the back of the property already. There is a Stockade fence also along the south side of the property, along with a very, very tall arborvitae row of bushes that really screen the properties to the south. I can pull up a board the old fashioned way too, if it's not gonna work.
Which one of these do you prefer? Revised site plan? 11.3?
That's the one.
Sheet two is fine.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna share it with everybody.
all right, so Route 5 is down at the bottom of the page, cut off a little bit, that's fine. So. The properties to the south are in the TZ zone, to the north, TZ zone, and then behind us, residential. We're not proposing many changes to the building. What we're here for tonight is a request for a site plan modification just for the change of use. The new use being the retail sales of firearms and ammunition. A special use permit is not required for that use. Mr. Markowski's business is currently located about a mile north on Route 5 in Prospect Hill Plaza, and he's looking to relocate that to his property here at 105 South Main Street. The only change to the building itself is we're adding a vestibule right in this little nook here of the main entrance. Totals about 140 square feet. What that does for us is it adds another level of security to the entrance of the building so that we can have, two doors that lock. We can have a more secure entrance and provide security that way. So with the new entrance, we're also gonna be building a new handicap access to the new handicap striped parking space. The parking in the front already exists, except for the spaces aren't really lined very well anymore, so we're gonna restripe those. This parking area to the south, about half of it exists now. We're gonna add some pavement to formalize this parking here, just so we can meet the zoning requirements for the amount of parking spaces required by the town for this use, which is, I believe, 18 or 19 space. We're providing a loading zone in the back of the building on the existing concrete pad, along with a new dumpster area with a fence next to the dumpster to screen that dumpster that's on the existing concrete pad. We're adding a bunch of bollards along the front of the building so vehicles won't creep up into the building and run into it, as they kind of talked about in your first application tonight a little bit, but maybe not so much here, since the vehicles are just your typical passenger vehicles. As far as additional landscaping goes, it's not on this plan, but that's okay. We're adding a landscape island in this vicinity here. Which one would you like? That's the next one. Yep, so. Combination of a tree, lilac, rose shrub, and junipers. In this landscape island here, we have a new standalone sign out in front. It's actually the same location where the old sign used to be, but it's not there anymore, so we've got to do a new one. So we're gonna do some landscaping, low level, nice looking landscaping around that sign, and then some shade maples in the front to shade the parking a little bit and to provide some screening and break up the view from the street a little bit. As far as lighting this site, we're going to add wall packs along the entire perimeter of the building. There will be that's on this actually, sorry, but they're the darker rectangles here. They're mounted at 11 feet high, which is about the height of the building. And then there's 1, 2, 3 poles. This one we're gonna move. we're showing it off our property. So we're just gonna have to slide that one right up to there a little bit. The state right away here is really strange, though, it comes down here and then it takes cuts at an odd angle, not parallel with the road, but that's just the way it is. So we'll just have to move that light a little bit further. But the purpose of that light and the other light is really to illuminate this entrance here, illuminate this entrance here, and then the parking right here. None of the lighting were still, beyond the property or anywhere near the residences behind us. There is the stockade fence behind us. This is the tall row of evergreen plantings. The entire north side is wooded. So there's really quite a bit of existing screening already. All the light fixtures are fully cut off and pointing down. Staff has asked us to widen this site drive here so that it's 24 feet wide, which is the standard for a commercial driveway. And then provide the adequate turning radius for the town's fire apparatus to come in here and make this turn, and then make this turn again and come out. As those turns, as they are now, are actually pretty exciting. So we've added that to the plans. As far as other staff reviews, inland wetlands has issued an agent approval. The town engineer, fire marshal, building official, and WPCA are all satisfied with the application. And the police chief has no comments or concerns with the proposed use. And I stole that right from your report, so you gotta give credit where credit's due. So, that's a brief synopsis of what we're proposing, and the applicant and I are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
Nope. But is it a larger facility or smaller?
Then where he is now?
Yeah.
It's a bigger space than where he is now.
Bigger space. Right now, what I'm renting is 18. I'm not gonna have a whole thing as retail. I'm talking like 2,200-2,400 for retail. The rest of it, I don't wanna do that. It's too big for me. Right there. No, I don't.
Hey, for the record, that was the applicant, the House Virginia speaking class. I was kind of looking at the lighting layout. And I would think that in an area like this, you might want to go maybe a little more lit for security reasons. In some of these areas where the parking is, we're down to 0.4 foot candles, 0.1 foot candles. I understand it's a tough balance not to light shed across your property line. But that's.
Yeah, we try to just light the areas where we feel we need to, which is around the building perimeter. So, the security can pick up anything around the building, and then, the part, it's comfortable for people to get out of their car and walk to the front door and back. So
What are the hours of operation?
10 to 6, Monday through Friday, 10 to 4 until Saturday, both Sundays.
Not too late into the dark hours.
Well, right now it's dark.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's summer. 4 months out of the year to be controlled, but predominantly. It won't be. We're not talking till 10 p.m.
No. We're not all like that.
Okay.
Security cameras? Oh, yeah. I have it all in this shop, too, so it's nothing.
Right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application?
Doesn't matter, we're. Okay, Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Robert. Yeah, for security purposes, this is a much better location. They're kind of way back in this plaza. Hidden, not a great spot. I'm sure when it first started, it seemed like a good idea, but where you are is not the best choice. I think this is an excellent change. And it's a good use of a building that's not in use now.
Yes, sir.
I live across the street.
Please identify yourself.
I'm Dan Morgan. I live at 106 South Main. And I do not feel comfortable with guns and ammo across the street from my house. I don't know what kind of people are gonna be going in there. I do not feel safe with that across the street from me.
Anyone else?
I'm Mary Ann Morgan. I live at 106 South Main Street. And I do not want that sold across the street from my yard. It's like in my front yard. I just don't want it there.
Is there anyone else? Good evening. Jay Peters, JP Firearms Corp. of Torrington, Connecticut. I'm a business associate of Chris's, Ed's, Lindsay's. Been doing business with them for several years. I provide them products. It's a very, to answer your question, very professional operation. Everybody's courteous, respectful. People come from everywhere to do business with Chris. Just a great, comfortable operation, very safe. And the types of people that are coming there are all permit holders because you cannot buy a firearm without a pistol permit. So you don't have their criminal element. They don't go to gun stores. I hope, just answering, trying to answer your question, give you a little bit of insight into what goes on in these gun stores. We don't get that element there. They're turned away, or when they do show up, a lot of times the police come and they're arrested. But it's a great operation. They're great people. They do a great job. They provide a great service, and I think they'll continue to be a great asset to your community. Anyone else?
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. Charlie Allen, East Granby, Connecticut. I came from across the river. I've known the Markowskis for almost 20 years now. Eddie's one of the most respected business owners in Suffield. Having the empty building sitting there serves no purpose. That I know what the building will end up looking like when he gets done will be significantly better than the way it looks now. I'm one of the people that comes to the establishment that they're currently in. I'm a licensed permit holder. I come here to use your gas stations. I come here to wash my car. I come to eat at Misu's or Elizabeth's. So a lot of people that come here, we're spending money here. So we actually do bring something into the town. We're not undesirables. We get along really good with the people who live here. And I think I would hope that you'd look favorably upon this application. Thank you.
How you doing today? My name is Chris DeBella. I've known Eddie Markowski for about 15 or 16 years. I also run the shop. We've been in business for 9 years, 6 of which have been in East Windsor. To your concerns, I understand completely where you're coming from. Since we opened up and did business, we've had no incidences at our shop. We work very closely with local law enforcement. We are very good with the town. We try to work with everyone. Security and everything is one of our utmost importances. We've had 0 stolen firearms. We also have, just to put you at ease too, we have a policy in our store as we speak where no one is allowed without a permit. And the permit allows them to purchase a firearm. We go through very efficient background checks. We work closely with ATF and the state police. And as I said before, local towns. I 100% support this and we want to continue doing business in your town.
Hello, my name is Jenny Hamilton. I am a business owner. I have a company called Lady in a Trap, and I do a lot of my business in East Windsor. I am the kind of person that you would see at Tobacco Valley Gun. I am there to purchase ammunition for my business as well as other things. I think it's great that they're expanding the location. It's easier to see. It's in a better location, and that building is not being currently used.
Hello, my name is Lindsay. I currently work at Tobacco Valley Gun. I really appreciate the opportunity for you to hear us here. We
State
currently,
your full name, please.
Lindsay Johnson. I really appreciate being able to speak tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity of being able to move to a bigger business. When Chris first started out, it was just him by himself. And then COVID hit and the industry kind of exploded. So he actually brought me on. I was working in pharmaceuticals before this, so it was kind of a whole different world for me. But honestly, I wrote reports for the FDA and now I'm writing reports for the ATF. So I feel like I'm very qualified to do the paperwork. And it is very strict. So we have a certain standard that we're held to when we have to do gun transfers or anything like that. And we make sure that everything is completely up to snuff. You don't last long in the industry doing things illegally. And I really like the idea of being able to expand our business. I also do a women's shooting group, so I'm able to branch out and have more women in our facility as well. And be able to provide them with security and protection, because unfortunately we do get a lot of women in there that say they never wanted a gun until they've been stalked. And I like being able to give the opportunity to speak with them, because sometimes they get the impression that it's a very male dominated industry. And I really like the fact that I'm able to provide them with some type of ease that, yes, we come from all different backgrounds and we're able to, connect and be able to provide a service for them. And I'm happy to say that there's maybe 2 of us in Connecticut that actually are in the gun industry. We have us in Newington Gun Exchange. There's a woman owner there too. So I'm very happy to work there. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Harry Paul. I'm from 124 Main Street, Paul's Package Store. So local business in town. We are in favor for the change of use of retail sales of firearms in ammunition. I'm also a licensed gun owner, and these facilities are truly a safe haven to go and shop. There's nothing to be concerned with. It's the people that you don't see is what you should be worried about. So I'm in favor for it. Good luck.
Hi, my name is Dominique Fawcett. Thank you for letting me come up here and speak tonight. I've had the pleasure of working for the Markowski family for 4 years now. And they're a great family. Ed Markowski, he's always professional. He treats all of his staff very well. And I help Chris and Lindsay 1 day a week at Tobacco Valley. And as a woman going into a gun store, it could be a very nerve-wracking thing because it's a male-dominated industry. So going in there and seeing like Lindsay and other women like Jenny in there, it brings a sense of comfort to women that are pistol permit carriers in the state. And I just wanted to say that I'm in support of gun moving. Thank you.
Name is Alex Jacques. I appreciate you guys for listening to me. Started out as just a customer at Tobacco Valley, and now I work for them. There's a reason I keep coming back to them. They go above and beyond the standards. So the standards is about here, and they go here to ensure that there's no issues as far as paperwork, firearms, making sure crime doesn't come out of that store. I believe moving to the new store would be a huge benefit to them and the town. Thank you.
My name is Colby Burgess. I work in town, I'm a taxpayer, and I approve.
My name is Lakshman Narpa from Paul's Package Store. And I approve.
Is there anyone online that would like to speak on this application? Just kind of a personal curiosity, do you guys have a lot of dealings with the East Windsor Sportsman's Club?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I've got a lot of guys that are there.
Is there any other questions?
I have one question, about the pole barn at the back. So the driveway goes all the way back there and the photometrics don't seem like they really put a lot of light back there. Can you just explain a little bit to me about what might happen back there on this property?
Down your old, all it was outside storage for oil. That's where they stored all our new products and stuff like that. It was just like I'm not gonna do anything with it.
Okay.
But it was just like, it was an outbuilding for him to have more storage.
Storage, okay.
Yeah.
So you have no use for it, really?
Not really, I mean. It's not secure, I mean, it's a lean-to, really. Yeah. There's no doors on it, you know what I'm saying, it's 3 sides. No, to the west, it's wide open.
So along that line, just a question, are you leasing this space?
I
You
bought,
own this
I
space?
bought.
Okay, so you own that property?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Well, I owned, where I had the solar panels, I owned that farm. When I sold that, I bought that. Over on Plantation.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yes.
Several of the people who did not give addresses and whatnot, so perhaps could they leave a listing of their name and locations and whatnot, please?
We have a sign-in sheet available.
There is a sign-in sheet.
Okay, sorry, so those of you that spoke, could you please sign in on the
Yes.
sign-in sheet for the record? Thank you, Peg. Okay. Stacy, does that satisfy your question?
I think it's a great addition.
Yeah, my question's asked, but I was just curious what happens back there in the building.
I mean, it's mainly like screening for the house too, because the fence is like behind it, you know, I'm just. Cause I don't even know if I know there's arborvitae got it, I think it's actually part of the fence, so.
It's
Where the
tied
barn
in.
goes up against.
It's tied into the fence. Okay.
If any, does staff have any questions or anything else you need to?
The only thing that occurred to me while Eric was reviewing the plan was just, I want to make a note that a sign permit will be required and we could have put the pylon sign up. Yeah, I can.
You want to add a condition number 15 then under kind of conditions?
It should, all right, so this, the memo is the one that's dated 11/27 that I handed out, yeah. I had a leftover condition that didn't apply to this site. So if we put a 14 on there, that a sign permit will be required. Up to 14.
So nobody has anything else, so entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on application 2023-29 for a special use permit for site plan modification and change of use to a gun shop.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Public hearing is closed. Does everyone have enough information to make a decision on this?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve application PZ 2023-29 for site plan modification and change of use to retail sales of firearms and ammunition located at 105 South Main Street, East Windsor, Connecticut. The owner applicant is Edward Markowski Jr. It references the plans dated 10/2023, last revised to 11/2/23. Sheets 1 through 5. There are going to be 14 conditions, 13 of which are in a memo from Ruth Ann Calabrese to the commissions, revised 11/27/23, and adding a 14th condition indicating a sign permit will be required.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Second. By Frank. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, okay.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous. Application is approved.
Great, thank you.
People, if you please, if you spoke, please sign that.
How many?
She's got for us.
Perfect, thank you.
Can I have a motion for a 5-minute recess so we can take care of this stuff?
I make a motion that we take a 5-minute recess.
All right, let's make it 10. Let's make it 10. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, taking a 10-minute recess at 8:07. Okay, 8:17, call back to order, meeting number 1863. The East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission. Our next public hearing is PZ 2023-30, 155 Main Street, special use permit. Requesting a special use permit for a change of use from convenience store to liquor store. It's map 88, block 47, lot 11. It's in the B1 zone. The owner applicant is Quasier.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It's okay. My name is Kesar Yusufzai, and I want to open a convenience store with beer permit, not the liquor store. Will you make a correction?
Okay. We think you want to talk about, I guess there's still some outstanding.
So. The application is, this, the sale of alcohol, which is beer, convenience store selling beer. And just, we had some miscommunication with the liquor store and, we are aware that East Windsor is a lot of poor and they are already taken, so the state would never issue another unless it's transferred or was relinquished, but this category, there isn't that same cap. So we clarified that. You know where the facility is, right over here on Main Street. There was a convenience store in there. It's currently vacant.
Yes.
Prior to moving into that space, a change of occupancy permit will be needed.
Okay.
And approval from the building official and the fire
Right.
marshal. And that is a condition, proposed, motion for the commission to consider. There are some building code issues that'll have to be resolved before occupancy could take place, so. That's reflected, but nothing that would hold up approving of proposed use. There is the subsequent steps of going through the building official and the fire marshal.
Is there any additional state permitting
He will
requirements?
need a liquor permit. Danielle is authorized to sign that. As long as you've given the special use permit.
It's not a state liquor permit.
He will, no, it's a state permit.
But it's not.
But he
but it's
can't
not being
submit,
rolled
he
by-
won't be able to submit it until Danielle signs it.
Oh, so she signs.
And that won't come until,
And then.
that won't come
the
until
state.
there's a formal approval.
And how does the fire code and building code violations get resolved?
That would be, with the change of occupancy permit that's submitted to the building department. Then they'll start their review process. And, I heard from both fire marshal and the building official that there are, some issues with the access. The stairs that are in the front of the building and then the firewall.
They're in an apartment upstairs?
It's an apartment upstairs, correct?
Next to.
Next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, next to it's got
So
that.
it's the wall between the two. That is that is.
I guess our purview for this evening is it an appropriate use in the property, and if it comes to fruition or not, then it's on the applicant to meet all the other requirements of the building department. And fire marshal.
And I did put, the condition. That.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anybody have any other questions of the applicant? So this is a public hearing. Is there anybody in public that'd like to speak on this application?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Brockbrook. I question whether this public hearing can be held. I have the legal notice here, which states that this would be a change of use from a convenience store to a liquor store. And now we're being told that's not what the application is. The problem is, this is what the public was told. It was published in the newspaper. This is where we get our information. So we come to a hearing about this, and then when we get here, say, no, that's not it, it's something else. I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think it's legal. I have no problem with somebody wanting to take on that task of failing another convenience store with totally inadequate handicap parking that's on a hill. Handicapped people can't get in and out of a car there, so that's a joke. It's never been successful. It probably never will be successful. However, your job's not to make it successful. But I have a big issue of a legal notice being put out for a hearing, and the hearing subject is changed when you arrive. That to me is unacceptable. I do not think you can legally do that. I think it would have to be republished correctly.
We had a
Question,
conversation.
I guess is the definition of liquor store, grocery beer.
Yeah, it's a lesser, intense application to the state for the
Yeah.
liquor license.
Okay.
So there was communication
Right.
barrier, and that's how
That's how that started, is
That's how
liquor
that
store.
started. And but we did talk about in the office that the legal notice said what it says, and the uses the convenience store with the beer stand, which we thought was a less intense use. In fact, public hearing was called for something more intense. And you
Yeah.
showed up and found out something that's actually less than.
You're not required to exceed the scope of a project once a project has been noticed. So if someone asks you for a special permit to build a 10,000 square foot building, they can't show up to the hearing and say, we actually want 25,000. But if they show up for 10,000 and you decide they can't make it work and you want to give them approval for 8,000, you don't then renotice it because the scope has been reduced. So you can't expand that request in any way. The convenience store, like Ruth mentioned, it's already, that retail sale doesn't require approval by the commission. So it was a bit of a terminology issue because the type of licenses that the state use and what we determine to be liquor and alcohol sales, it's all, there are different classes permit. And so the liquor license is the most broad. It provides for them, you know, you can basically sell anything. Grocery beer is very limited, still alcohol. But we ultimately felt that that language actually sought something well beyond what he was asking for.
Okay.
Which is why we didn't renotice.
But to address his point, if the public, if anyone in the public was opposed or in favor of what was written, they would show up. And it's just, that's not what's being proposed. Even though your terminology in the law, the way you present it, it's less than, it can be less, but the public doesn't know that.
The thought process is because it's a lesser request,
I understand.
someone's not gonna have a problem with grocery beer that, but would have been okay with liquor. The only reason someone would be aggrieved by the notice as written is if they were fine with liquor, right? And so because we
went from grocery beer and liquor.
exactly, so if that were the case, then there would be a potential notice issue with that because they might feel differently, but this is, we sort of reduced the bar. So we think about who might be aggrieved by that potential question. And I don't know who could be opposed to grocery beer that would have been fine with liquor. And really, it's terminology defined by the state, right? It's license type, but we did, you know, go through that equation.
May I continue?
Yes.
Okay. This property is very close to a school. I find that to be a concern. I find that the traffic in front of the building is very heavy. Getting in and out of that parking space is a hazard. It's just like the pizza place down the street. It's a hazard. And problems have occurred. I find this type of use, my personal opinion is, there never should be a retail operation there at all. That's. Now, back when we had the trolley going through town and horses and wagons, it worked. Doesn't work anymore. There's too much traffic coming from multiple roads crossing in front of that building. And when you pull out, you're in the street. You can barely fit a car off the street and you're always on a hill. I consider that a major hazard. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I'm not gonna criticize any decisions you make, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
Stuff up for this. So my name is Andrew Harry Paul from 124 Main Street, Paul's Package Store. Our family business has been here in town for 20 years this year. And we're here just about almost 8 years to the date, actually trying to move the liquor store from across the street. From 123 Main Street to 124. So a couple of things, I agree with Mr. Paul here that the reason why we're here is we're actually opposed from the change of use from a convenience store to a liquor store. There is a vast difference. I also represent a convenience store with a grocery beer permit. It's not necessarily a lesser of a license. They're still selling an alcohol product to 21 and over. Our facility, we have age restrict. We have a way to do the age identity, make sure we're checking IDs, make sure that we're avoiding minors to get access to alcohol. We also pride ourselves on making sure that the community is being taken care of and protected to the best of our abilities, that we're not selling to minors, that we're not selling to intoxicated persons. The grocery beer permit also has a couple things in it that a liquor store doesn't. The grocery beer permit says that you have to have X amount of groceries in your space, that you have to have X amount of sales for those grocery items. And I'm not talking about a candy bar. I'm actually talking about onions, potatoes, rice, flour. All of those needs also have to be met. So there's the state looks at it on a different proportion relative to your sales on whether you can get a grocery beer permit. So convenience store beer permit is actually not the terminology, it's grocery beer permit, because you got to be considered basically a little market. As far as another thing, proximity wise, we are basically across the street. You're gonna be selling a like product that we already carry, which is beer. Our friend here also has a convenience store that also sells beer. We're gonna have too many outlets selling the same exact product in a very, very small perimeter. Beyond that, and the convenience store side of things, you already have 1, 2, 3 convenience stores plus a Dollar General. You're gonna be adding one more again of the same thing. So how many small guys are gonna be fighting for the same sale? It's basically gonna be, you know, a race to the bottom. You know, they're gonna keep pricing out each other, and the next thing you know, nobody's making money and somebody's gonna have to close their door. So again, we came here on the pretense that this was going to be a liquor store. It's obviously not going to be a liquor store. The ingress egress of that store is not in favor of the general public. You're basically pulling into a parking spot and reversing out into the flow of traffic. Versus our parking lots, they're big, brightly lit. You can come in one way, go out the other way, vice versa. It's safe. And then again, the biggest thing is, we don't have minors coming into our store, but we do have the measures already in place, and we've already been existing to make sure that minors are not being sold alcohol. So once again, I'm against it, but that's my take. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Ali Bilal. I own the convenience store down the street, in and out. I also own the gas station on 140, Farmtown Gas. I oppose this beer permit because, like, how many convenience store with the beer, like, you can put in a small town? There's already so many of them. Where I oppose.
My name is Lakshman Harpa from Paul's Package Store. And I oppose the use of a beer permit there. Number one, because of the parking. I moved from 123 to across the street, but because of parking, they had accidents. People almost get run over on the street, sliding on that hill during winter time. And my business almost went bankrupt there because of the situation like that. So that's why I went across the street, just because of parking. People are more safe. I had a lot of issues. Streets parking right there because I didn't have side parking, I didn't have no back parking, I didn't have nothing. People slid down the hill, cars went, they had an accident there. Been home quite a few times, and now it's safe. And to top it off, it's close to a school. This is right next to a school right now. And kids, I'm not concerned of kids going and buy beer. I'm concerned of kids walking here and the car back up into them. That's my concern. And I oppose the beer license. They can have the grocery store. You want to do a grocery store, because I've been here 20 years and there's 20 failed grocery stores went to the other.
Can I add one more?
Oh, people haven't spoken yet.
Real quick, Charlie Allen, East Granby. So anybody who remembers East Granby from 20 years ago knows the difference now with 4 gas stations in a row on Route 20. The traffic, the increase in traffic, and the detriment to our original business owners. We had 2 gas stations that have been there in excess of 20 years. Both of them have told me that it's damaged their business irreparably by adding 2 larger services that sell basically the same product. And the only reason I'm saying that is we had 2, we now have 4. I think if we had to do it over again, we would do it differently. You can only support so much business in a small area. And I would speak for the businesses that have been established. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Okay, I just want to add one important thing
Please
too.
state your name for.
Oh, Andrew Harry Paul, 124 Main Street. One other important factor that we didn't discuss is that all of our deliveries are coming in big box trucks. They need to have a proper place to pull in that's safe. Including all of our deliveries. There's not one that's coming in a car, they're coming in big box trucks. So you need a spot that's basically off the road that they can pull in, safely unload their product, bring it into the store, and not create these blind spots on the road. Oh yeah, I also have 84 signatures against it. Submit. It's like, hey, not what they said. Yeah.
Anyone else? Is there anyone online that'd like to speak on this application? Maybe this is kind of, I understand it's kind of a formality how, you know, we can approve the use, but there's still a lot of other issues that have to be resolved with the building department and things like that, and that to me, you know, with the code problems and the other issues that are in that facility, I kind of think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. I think the building needs to be viable before we talk about the use. If the building itself isn't viable, what's the sense of approving? It could have been a casino, but if the building is not viable, kind of thing, you know? That's kind of my personal opinion.
I'm listening to the people who frequent that area. I'm also concerned about the traffic and backing out. I don't know if we have the ability to request some kind of safety analysis. Right, but for a public health and safety, you know, I don't know if it merits a police referral of how they would feel about the backing out onto Main Street. I do the post office a lot, but I can come out, you know, it's a loop, so I have no problem. I can't imagine having to back out into her.
So the only thing that you're looking at is the sale of beer. Because the convenience store is not regulated through the special use, right? So tomorrow they can do all of the things that were happening there without approval from the commission. So if the sale of beer is
Generate more
is
traffic,
gonna, if people back out differently because they buy beer,
or
so
there's
they
more
don't,
traffic.
right? If, so that you just, when you're thinking about those questions, that you just,
Well,
Yeah.
does the building issue still have to be resolved if they did not ask for a sale
The
of beers?
building is, that portion of the building is vacant right now.
Yeah.
Before anybody can occupy that space, they have to get a change of occupancy permit
And the building
from the
issue.
building
Even though
official
it
and the
was-
fire marshal.
Even though it was a convenience store.
Yes, change of occupancy.
Oh, because it's from person A to person B.
Yeah.
Okay,
So regardless of what
They
they
have
do
to
with the
come up to
space, they
code.
have to meet the building codes. I don't know, I mean, my personal opinion, I'd rather see the building up to code first and then, you know, talk about what's a permittable use for it.
I would too.
you can't hold it, because the problem is what he's gonna need to do will be dependent on how the building is occupied. And until he has an approval, he doesn't know how he can use it. So you can't hold, you can try to get more information, but if you say, come back to us when the access is compliant, you're predicating your approval on another agency's approval, which.
Plus, we also have a time clock. Probably can't resolve the building code and fire those
So-
regulations and then.
So saying something like, I want to hear from the police chief, if he has any specific concerns, that's fine, because you can ask the question, you can get an answer, but. Yeah, I think there already are comments from Ken. Ken Rich,
Yes.
yeah, so,
And he said that a change of occupancy permit will need to be approved prior to commencing business at this location. Building code is not a major for that.
There it is already.
yeah, but the way the space is configured, all that
That's his purview.
sliding scale.
Ours is just purely use. And we've allowed other people to be there and backing out onto the street before. Do we think they back out differently buying beer?
No,
No, they don't.
It-
You can't tell somebody whether they
It's,
come in.
right, it's just the number of vehicles.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
I-
increase the number or not, but it's below the
Market,
threshold of the traffic. study.
market saturation is a tough item because it's on a free market enterprise.
And
It's,
we don't
There
really
you
have a
go.
right to
We
say
can't
we-
tell anybody how many,
yeah,
something you can have anywhere.
Well, I think the supply and demand will determine. whether
We'll
this-
sort it out.
it does,
whether
but
this
it's
business-
inevitably it hurts all the
It's
ones.
historically, as Paul Anderson pointed out, the success has not been very good, so. Many of the concerns with the slippery, ice-packed roads and with parking and all that might
People will
Right.
not to go
end
there.
rather quickly.
Yep. But you have to give them a chance.
But it's not in our purview to say, no,
Can't.
That,
Yeah.
that we reach market saturation.
unfortunately, right, and I say that personally, unfortunately.
Capitalism
Yeah.
will tell us. I hate to say it.
Well, I guess there's a number of liquor licenses that the state can issue, but that again,
this-
it's in our.
This isn't the liquor license.
Right.
This is
That's
a
grocery beer.
grocery beers.
And he's gotta go that threshold and that's.
Not
out of our
ours,
commission,
right.
out of our purview.
I have a question though to our planner. How about the distance from the school?
Our regulations require 500 feet.
And we have them.
The class buildings, the portable class buildings are less than 500 feet. I would guess.
When I looked at it's not property line to property line, it's entrance to entrance. So they're in excess of
The
that.
door.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
if we measured property line to property line, it might not be, but
Definitely would not be.
the way that we define it in East Windsor, it's in excess of the 5.
So I'll ask one question, as I have it in front of me, I have this, the 701 special permit findings section open.
Yep.
And the section is 701.3 adequate access. The thing that stands out to me is just that the parking and loading facilities are adequate and properly located. And that the entrance and exit driveways are laid out to achieve maximum safety. That would go under the building department's determination. So we would have to kind of approve a use and then they would be ultimately deciding if that's met and
So it's an existing,
it already has an existing.
it's an existing structure.
And they're not asking to modify.
The structure.
Or
But
expand
the
it.
special
So it's not
permit
a
is
site
attached
plan
to that,
change.
yeah. It's the only thing that keeps jumping out from the records tonight.
The devil is in the details.
Mhm.
Unfortunately,
It's
in my
subjective.
opinion,
It's very subjective.
unfortunately, we can't do, in my opinion, unfortunately, we can't do anything about it.
Correct.
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on application PZ 2023-30 for a special use permit at 155 Main Street for grocery beer at a convenience store.
There is a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Wait a second. I'm sorry, did I mess that up? This is not a public hearing?
No, it's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's like, I looked down really quickly and I'm like, oh boy. Okay.
We just. follow the law.
I'm
So
sorry.
it's not.
Okay.
It's not a law.
Yeah, a motion and a second. Any other unnecessary comments? Heard? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Unanimous.
Good luck.
Yeah, is there anything else that anybody needs to say, need to think and talk about?
I feel like none of us are comfortable, but we don't have purview to
Stop it.
address what we feel like we'd like addressed.
Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve the application PZ 2023-30 for a special use permit at 155 Main Street for grocery beer at a convenience store. The zone is B1. The approval is granted subject to the conformance with the application materials as may be modified by the commission and its approval. And the following conditions and modifications. The conditions, there are 4 of them. Prior to the issuance of any permits, the owner applicant shall file a copy of the certificate of approval on the land records. Number 2, signage shall require a separate permit. Number 3, any changes to the license type issued by the Connecticut Liquor Control Commission will require modification of this special permit. And number 4, change of use / change of occupancy permits are required by the building and the fire departments prior to any commencement of business operations.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other further discussion? Let's do it. Hearing none, I'll call for a
For
vote.
discussion, I'll say, I do this with reservation, not seeing any alternative.
Any other further discussion?
No,
On voting and hesitation.
All right, I call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's
good.
So at this point, you guys still. Come back.
No.
Oh.
We don't- it's still with the customer, their application, I think the state, and like, we had it, and then they have to go to the state.
Right, and then when they put the plan on the
French.
finger count and everybody. has a
All right.
chance to-
State, yes, yeah.
I'm on board.
Because it is a, I mean, I'm not wishing that. Cool. Location. Yeah, we get. Nice. Yeah.
Okay. we have to-
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Oh. Glad.
You're lucky you guys.
You too. Okay, so here we have to finish on the. Okay. So under new business, we have application PZ 2023-27. 52 Main Street modification to an approved site plan for parking spot located at 52 Main Street. Map 61, block 5, lot 41 in the TZ5 zone. The applicant has requested that we move this to our next meeting. You require a motion to, it's not a public hearing. But it's still gonna
It's a
be-
site plan. Right.
Okay.
Make a motion. 7:12.
Okay, so. Motion to continue.
I'll make a motion to continue to December 12th, 2023. Our Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, application PZC 2023-27 for 52 South Main Street. A site plan modification to parking for an existing business. The owner applicant is Yanao Writer for Black Iris LLC Toro Auto.
Okay, there's a motion to continue PZ 2023-27 to next meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The application is continued.
Would you like to fix that? Good.
We have no other business, no correspondence. No business meeting items. No need for executive session. So if anybody has anything else they'd like to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Frank. Is there a second?
I'm second.
Second by Stacy. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned.